welcome back. We love getting your requests, and this one is especially intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've sent over a whole stack of articles about Maya Rudolph,
Mm-hmm.
but not just her career, you're also really curious about her wellness journey.
I can see why.
So today we're doing a deep dive into
Okay.
what we can learn from Maya's approach to health and well-being.
What I find so fascinating is that Maya hasn't really come out and said, here's my diet, here's my workout.
Right.
We get glimpses from different interviews and profiles, but there's no official Maya Rudolph wellness plan.
Right. It's like a puzzle. We've got all these pieces, and now we have to figure out how they fit together.
Exactly.
But even before we dive into specifics, there's one thing that jumps out from these articles.
Okay.
And it's got me thinking, so many of them focus on Maya's supposed weight loss.
Oh, interesting.
But Maya herself hasn't confirmed that this was ever a goal.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to how fixated our culture is on physical transformations.
Yeah.
It's almost like the assumption is that any change in a celebrity's appearance must be intentional, must be about weight loss.
It's easy to get caught up in the before and after photos and the headlines.
Yeah,
But is that really the most important part of Maya's story?
I'd argue it's not.
Okay.
What if we shift our focus from outcomes, like a number on the scale,
Okay.
to the process of wellness itself?
I like that.
What if we look for the habits, the mindset, the choices that contribute to overall well-being? That's what we can learn from Maya's example.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So let's put aside the weight loss question for a moment and dig into these clues, shall we?
Let's do it.
One thing that really stood out to me is Maya's long history of body positivity.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something that just popped up recently. It seems to be a core part of who she is. I mean, think back to that iconic Donatella Versace skit on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
She was owning her look-defying beauty norms.
Exactly. That's over 20 years ago, long before body positivity was a mainstream conversation.
Right.
It suggests that this isn't just a phase or a reaction to something.
Yeah.
It's a deep-seated self-acceptance.
Right.
And that's powerful because it impacts so many aspects of your life.
I can see that when you're comfortable in your own skin, you're probably less likely to get caught up in restrictive diets or
Yeah.
punishing workout routines.
Yeah.
You're more likely to approach wellness from a place of self-care, not self-criticism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from a purely physiological perspective, that reduction in stress can have a huge impact on your physical health.
Oh, tell me more about that. I'm always interested in the science behind these things.
Well, when you're constantly stressed, your body pumps out cortisol,
Right.
which is known as the stress hormone.
Uh-huh.
And while cortisol is essential for survival in short bursts,
Okay.
chronically high levels can lead to a whole cascade of negative effects,
Yeah.
including weight gain, particularly around the midsection.
So even if you're eating healthy and exercising, if your stress levels are through the roof, it can sabotage your efforts.
Briskly.
Wow.
And that's why I find Maya's example so intriguing.
Yeah.
She's clearly someone who manages a demanding career and a busy family life.
Right.
Yet she seems to exude this sense of calm and joy.
Yeah.
It suggests she's mastered the art of stress management.
Okay, I'm already seeing a pattern here. It's not just about what Maya eats or how she exercises.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset that supports well-being on every level.
Exactly. It's that holistic approach that makes her story so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not about finding a quick fix. It's about creating a lifestyle that nourishes your body, mind, and spirit.
Now let's get into some of those specifics.
Okay.
The article hint at Maya's diet.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds like a pretty sensible approach. Lots of whole foods, plenty of water-balanced portions.
And that in itself is a refreshing change from the fad diets and extreme cleanses we often see promoted.
Yeah.
It's about making sustainable choices that nourish your body without feeling like deprivation.
It's like that saying, everything in moderation, including moderation.
I like that. It speaks to the idea that healthy living doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you and incorporating it into your life in a way that feels good and sustainable.
Okay, so we've got the food piece. Now, what about exercise? I know Maya's a busy woman, but she always seems to have so much energy.
The articles mention a variety of activities, cardio strength training, maybe even some yoga or Pilates for flexibility.
Right.
But here's the part that I find most interesting.
Okay.
They also talk about dance.
That totally makes sense given her background. She's always been a performer, so it seems natural that she would find joy in movement.
And that's a key takeaway right there.
Yeah.
Finding activities you genuinely enjoy. Because when you look forward to working out, it stops feeling like a chore and becomes something you want to do, not something you have to do.
It's like that saying, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. But in this case, it's find a workout you love and you'll never dread going to the gym.
Exactly.
Right.
And this speaks to a broader principle that I think is central to Maya's approach to wellness.
Okay.
She seems to prioritize joy.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this. Tell me more.
We've talked about what Maya does, the healthy habits, the balanced lifestyle.
Right.
But what about her mindset? That seems to be a big part of her success, both professionally and personally.
Yes, this is what I find so intriguing about Maya. We've seen glimpses of this throughout her career. The way she carries herself, the roles she chooses, that infectious laugh.
Oh, yeah.
It all points to this deep sense of self-acceptance and a willingness to embrace her own unique well-awesomeness.
It's like she's giving us permission to be ourselves, quirks and all.
Right.
And that's a powerful message, especially in a world that's constantly trying to tell us who we should be.
Is this something you're just born with? Or can we learn to be more like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While some people might naturally be more inclined towards self-acceptance,
Uh-huh.
I believe it's a skill that could be developed and nurtured over time.
So it's like building a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you work on it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And just like any muscle, it requires consistent effort and attention. Think about it.
Yeah.
Maya's been in the public eye for decades.
Right.
There's always pressure in Hollywood to conform, to fit a certain mold, yet she's remained true to herself.
I remember reading an interview where she talked about not taking herself too seriously.
Oh, yeah.
She said something like, "I'm just here to have fun and make people laugh." That really resonated with me.
There's a real freedom in that, isn't there?
Totally.
When you let go of the need to be perfect to please everyone, you open yourself up to so much more joy and creativity.
So we've talked about healthy habits. We've talked about mindset.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can glean from Maya's approach to wellness?
I think there's one more piece of the puzzle we can't overlook, and it's something that connects all these pieces together.
Let me guess you're talking about joy.
Yes. Pure, unadulterated joy. It seems to radiate from Maya.
Yeah.
Whether she's performing on stage, cracking a joke on a talk show, or just being a mom with her family.
And you know what? It's contagious. When you see someone genuinely enjoying life,
Yeah.
it makes you want to tap into that energy too. But is that something you can do? Can you choose to be joyful?
I believe you can. It's not about waiting for joy to magically appear in your life.
Right.
It's about actively seeking it out and creating it for yourself.
I wonder if Maya schedules joy time, like she schedules meetings. It's so easy to get caught up in to-do lists of obligation, but maybe intentionally carving out space for fun is part of her secret?
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
It's about making joy a priority, not an afterthought. And it doesn't have to be anything grand or expensive.
Right.
Maybe it's dancing in your kitchen while you're cooking dinner, listening to your favorite music on your commute, or spending time in nature.
It's about finding those little sparks of joy and fanning the flames, right?
Exactly. And here's a little secret.
Okay.
The more you focus on those joyful moments, the more they'll start to multiply. It's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
You start to see the good, you feel more grateful, and that creates even more joy.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this joy train. But what about those days when it feels hard?
Yeah.
When you're stressed, overwhelmed, or just plain. How do you cultivate joy then?
Those days are inevitable, right? Life throws curveballs.
Yeah.
But even on those tough days, there are still things we can do to shift our perspective.
Like what? Give me some actionable tips.
Well, one thing that's helped me is keeping a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. It could be something big, like a job promotion, or something small, like a delicious cup of coffee.
That's a good one. It's so easy to focus on what's going wrong, but taking time to appreciate the good things can really change your outlook.
It's like training your brain to look for the positive.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
So we're not just talking about fleeting moments of happiness here.
Right.
We're talking about cultivating a deeper sense of contentment and resilience.
Exactly. It's about finding that inner peace that allows you to weather the storms and appreciate the sunshine.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on wellness. Before we wrap up our deep dive into Maya Rudolph's approach to wellness, I want to try and distill everything we've discussed into some key takeaways for our listener.
Yeah, good idea. Where do we even begin?
I know, right?
It feels like we've covered so much.
Well, I think the first thing that really struck me was how much Maya emphasizes body positivity.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about how she looks, it's about how she feels about herself. And that seems to inform so many of her choices.
I completely agree. And it ties into what we were just talking about with joy. When you accept yourself, flaws and all,
Right.
it frees up so much mental and emotional energy that you can then channel into things that bring you joy.
It's like she's saying, hey, this is me, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And that confidence is just so magnetic.
It's inspiring, right?
Totally.
It makes you want to embrace your own quirks and stop trying to fit into some impossible mold.
Absolutely. Okay, so body positivity is a big one. What else? Oh, I know. The whole idea of finding joy in movement really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah.
I love that Maya doesn't seem to approach exercise as a chore. She finds activities she genuinely enjoys, like dance.
And that's such a key piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
When you find a workout that feels good, that you actually look forward to, it stops being about willpower and becomes about pleasure.
And then, of course, is the whole mindset piece.
Right.
It's not just about what Maya does. It's about how she thinks. That whole idea of not taking yourself too seriously, of finding humor in everyday moments, that's something we can all learn from.
It's such a powerful antidote to stress, isn't it?
Totally.
When you can laugh at yourself, when you can find the absurdity in a situation.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off.
I think that's a great point to end on. It's not about achieving some perfect state of wellness.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you, embracing your imperfections, and approaching life with a sense of joy and humor.
Beautifully said. And remember, dear listener, you have the power to create a life that feels good on every level. It starts with small steps, with making conscious choices that nourish your body, mind, and spirit.
And don't forget to have fun along the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Maya Rudolph's approach to wellness. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep shining your light.